Welcome back. Today with our 1 Point Perspective name, we are going to be adding color that includes some value. What you're going to want to do is first determine where the light source is coming from. I am going to put my light source over here. I usually like to put a little arrow, or you can even do sort of like a quick sun to help you remember that this is where the sun is coming from. So the light is very similar to the vanishing points and how that all goes back to this direction. My light is now going to be going this direction. And when you are working with value, you want to think about the things that are closest to the light, because those are the lightest. And then the things that are further away from the light, because they'll be the darkest. I'm choosing to do green. When you are coloring in a value, you want to try to be consistent. It usually works best if you hold the pencil a little bit further away. Do you notice how my fingers are up on the pencil? I'm not really close, because then you have to do a lot of movement. Here, I cannot move my hand very much, and the pencil moves quite a bit. And I just want to be sort of consistent with my pressure. I'm not really pushing down on the pencil at all. It's really the weight of the pencil that's making the color. And then I would go on this part, I need to make it darker because there's going to be shadow there. So I'm going to do a little bit more pressure, push down a little bit harder to color that in. We'll just pretend that's done. So colored pencil. Now with my A, I'm going to show you how you can do this with just a regular pencil. So it's kind of the same technique. When you have pencil, you can use white as the lightest value. So if I want this to be the lightest, I can just leave it. I don't need to do anything with it. And then I need to come up with two other values that I'm going to use on this space. I have these on the top, and I have these underneath. Okay, so it makes sense, right, to have it darker underneath. So I would fill this in probably pretty dark with my pencil. It doesn't have to be as black as you can get it or as dark as you can get it. However, the more extreme your values are, so if this is really dark and this is really light, it helps it pop out a little bit more. It shows contrast in your art. And you can go back over it so it's nice and even. And then for these, this would be a lighter value in between. Now here I could even do this one's closer to the sun than that one, so this could be a little bit lighter. So I can, again, backing up on my pencil, lightening this up. Now I want to see a change here, so this is going to have to get a little bit darker. So I can do the same thing that I did with that first section, but I would just go over it a second time to make it a little bit darker. So more pressure to fill that in. Okay, it's important that you see a change in value with these. That is what helps kind of bring out the different sides of your letter. And then this part here could be the darkest part again over here. And now for this one, I'm going to say that this is sort of reflecting a little bit. So I'm not going to go dark, dark, but it's going to be this one maybe in here. I would want to continue this down here as well. So I am guessing that this one would be the darkest. So I go really dark. because it's essentially the opposite side of where the sun is. If you look at where my hand is located on my pencil, I'm almost like I would be if I'm writing with my pencil. So I can have pretty firm pressure and control. Then this one would be the medium one, sort of similar to that. And then this one would be the lighter one. So I stopped here actually because I wanted to do the lighter one first. I find that it is easier to lay down the light and the dark. So then you can figure out how much pressure you need to use for the one in between. So you can make sure you see a difference. Right now I'm having a little bit of trouble with that other side. If you have gotten too dark, like I may have gotten too dark in that part, another thing you can do is just gently go back and erase to lighten that up a little bit. So there I have my different choices, my different values with pencil. The last way you can do this is with marker. Test them. So that would be the medium. This would be the lighter value. And this one would be the darkest value. I do like those three together. So I'm going to then do my R with this. Again, thinking about lightest to darkest. So if the sun is over here, I want my lightest version to be the front. And I'm just using good coloring technique with my marker. I'm using the side of the marker. I can see, I turn my paper so I can see the tip and the line that I'm trying to stay within at the same time. I am not using a lot of pressure. And then I can use lines to fill this in. Again, turning a lot so I can see what I'm doing. It's really hard to try to stay within the line if your tip is covering up the line that you're trying to stay in. I have my lightest part. Now I'm going to figure out where my darkest part is. I want this part to be the darkest. Here. If you have a small shape like I did there, I use the tip. I'm going to go with this part as the darkest. By carefully thinking about how you add color to your letters, you will be able to add to the feeling of depth with your letters. Now I showed you several different ways to do this on the same picture. Your job is to pick one and stick with it throughout. So you will either use marker, you will use pencil, or colored pencil or crayon if you have it. Once you have this all complete, it's all colored in, then I would like you to take a photo of your work and turn it in Google Classroom.